I didn't start this park run trying to win, but halfway through, everything changed. Now, park run as part of the Invictus Games back in 2017. It's one of my favourite runs of all time. It was the day I met Ian Young. We raced shoulder to shoulder for a portion of it, and he ended up getting second. I did end up winning, but this is not about me beating someone. This is about my performance. Keep an eye out though for a future parkrun progress report where I review Ian's performance because he had a fantastic run this day as well. And we've been in contact via Facebook since then. So there's my run there. Let's have a look at it in detail on Strava. So this park run was a once-off that the Sage Foundation put on as part of the Invictus Games Toronto. It was, let's go into Training Peaks and have a look at it. The run itself, there's the 5 laps there, that fifth lap being slightly short, 800 meters or 790. So it was a time trial that turned into a race for me. I started this run as trying to run the best 5K I can. And then at 2 kilometers, it sort of became, hey, I'm in second place. Let's see if I can win this. That transition is important because it explains the pacing perfectly. This is a hybrid performance. The first half was a controlled time trial. The second half was a competitive race. I went into the event not knowing who I was going to be running against, what their capabilities, abilities, or fatigue levels were. And the opening 2 kilometers, I did exactly what I should have done. First kilometer was a 3:42. Second kilometer, 3:44. My power was about 400 watts. My cadence was stable. My heart rate was rising smoothly, and it was excellent execution for that unknown field. There was no overcommitment, no ego-driven surge trying to keep up with people. I just settled into my own effort, and it gave me options. The decision point was around 2 kilometer mark, and this is where things sort of changed mentally for me, my perspective on the event. At 2Ks, I realised I was in second place. The gap was manageable to catch Ian, and my competitiveness kicked in. This is where the run changes from my internal pacing to external racing. Those external cues were guiding my decision making and pushing me further. And importantly, it wasn't impulsive. It was a conscious decision to test the situation. I surged with a well-timed and well-executed third kilometre, 3:37, picking that pace up, lifting that normalised power as well. It aligns with closing the gap, committing to the move. What's good here, I didn't surge from the start, built in over those 2 kilometres. I waited until the race had settled. I made the move when it mattered, and that's good instinctive racing. I closed the gap, I pushed past Ian, and then I really pushed on for home. But it was burnt a little bit. Some matches got destroyed, closing that gap and then opening up a little gap over Ian. The cost of the move was expected but controlled. The fourth kilometre was a 3:59. My power dropped from 403 down to 372, or average power. Yeah, 372, normalised 373. Heart rate continued to climb, and you can see the average of 178 for this kilometre. And that's the price of my decision. But here's the important distinction. This wasn't me blowing up. This was a managed cost. I didn't panic. I didn't collapse. I absorbed it. And then the final segment, the last 800 or 790 meters, that is the impressive part. I held a 3:55 pace, normalized graded pace the same. My power stabilizes, 373 normalized power, 374 average. My heart rate dropped slightly, and that tells us I regained composure. I switched from attack mode to defend mode, made sure I stayed ahead of Ian. I held form under fatigue. And that's not just fitness, that's race awareness, knowing what's happening around me, keeping my ear out I don't recall, and I typically don't look behind me when I'm racing. That's one of my mindsets, but I keep my ears open and listening to see if I can hear someone closing in on me. Now, my heart rate and cadence confirmed control. Heart rate was smooth, rise through the run. It peaks mid to late run, and it doesn't spiral late. My cadence is very consistent, 175 to 177 throughout, although there was a brief spike during the surge, but there was no late breakdown. This reinforces I was always in control of the effort, even when I was racing. What this tells us about me as an athlete, this run shows I paced conservatively when needed. I recognised an opportunity mid-race, and I was willing to commit when it mattered, and I could absorb that surge and still finish strong. That's a powerful combination. Would a different strategy have been faster? Absolutely yes, but only if the goal was purely time-based. A pure time trial version would have likely have been smoother and slightly faster overall, but that version doesn't account for my positioning and my competition, as well as the race dynamics. And in this case, the decision I made gave me the best chance to win, not just to run fast. The key takeaway, I didn't plan to race, but when the race appeared, I stepped into it and I executed it reasonably well. My overall assessment, this could be best described as a well-controlled time trial that evolved into a smart, competitive race. And for my first ever park run, this was a good result, not just physically, but tactically. The overall was an 1857 equivalent. So 1807 for the 479 is what I ended up running. So this is exactly what happens to a lot of runners. They start with, I'll just run my own race, and then mid-run, hang on, I might be able to catch that person ahead. And they put in the competitiveness. The difference is some runners panic and end up blowing up. Others, like I did here on this day, adapt and manage it. Keep an eye out for the future when I do review Ian's parkrun performance on the same course on the same day. And I'll be analysing a new parkrun every week. Make sure you're subscribed, and maybe next time I'll be reviewing your race.